I'd be lying if I said I didn't see the first warning sign from a mile away. But honestly, when you're holding the keys to your new home, a ranch by the lake bought with every last dollar you scraped together after a divorce, ripped your old life to shreds. You want to believe just for a minute that the nightmare is over. You want to believe this place is your fresh start, your second chance. But I'll tell you this, sometimes what looks like a new beginning is just the opening act of a whole different kind of storm. I'm Frank Johnson, and I'll never forget the day I rolled up to my ranch, heart-pounding, hands sweaty on the steering wheel, a notarized deed sitting on the seat next to me, legal, airtight, everything checked and double-checked. 3 weeks since I'd closed the auction. The title company said I was good. The county records matched. My whole future was wrapped up in that property. But when I turned off the dirt road and saw 3 pickups forming a blockade at my gate, it hit me things were about to get messy. Now, I'd done my homework. I knew this ranch wasn't part of any HOA. But here stood 3 people, 2 women, 1 guy, all looking way too self-assured, waving a notice in my face, demanding $47,000 within 48 hours, or the HOA would seize my home. The woman in the blue vest, clipboard, glasses, name tag reading, Christine Gray, HOA President. She didn't bother to smile. "Are you the one who bought the Morrison property?" Flat voice, like she'd practiced this line before. I told her, yeah, I was Frank, and the deed was right here if she wanted to see it. She shook her head, slow, condescending. "The deed is irrelevant. This property is under HOA jurisdiction. There's a lien for unpaid assessments. Until that's cleared, you can't take possession." I asked her for paperwork, dates, stamps, anything real. She wouldn't show me a thing. "You'll get it by email," she said. "But you've got 48 hours. If you don't pay, we confiscate." That word stuck with me, confiscate. Not foreclosure, not repossession, confiscate. Nobody in property law talks like that. And her backup, Greg Nolan, enforcement, muscle shirt, shaved head, arms crossed. He steps in and tries to order me off their land. The third, Evelyn Watson, blocks my phone as I try to take photos. No pictures she snaps. Private HOA matter. These 3, they moved together like this wasn't their first rodeo. But something felt off. The magnetic signs on their trucks, Lakeview Estates, HOA official business, looked cheap. The logo in Comic Sans. Christine's threat sounded more like a script than anything legal. And their refusal to hand over real documents, the way they closed ranks and blocked my camera, all of it made my skin crawl. I left. Backed out slow, watching them in my mirror. Christine on her phone, Greg grinning, Evelyn blocking the shot. I drove to a motel 6 miles down the road, heart in my throat, questions piling up. That night, Christine's promised email landed in my inbox. 3 attachments, a supposed lien notice, a demand letter, and a chunk of HOA bylaws. The lien was all show no file number, no county stamp, nothing legit. The demand letter came from some Raymond Voss legal counsel warning me not to trespass, boasting of his ties to county officials, but the wire instructions led to Arvos Holdings LLC, not the HOA. I looked up Raymond Voss. No bar record. The law office was just a P.O. box in a strip mall 40 miles away. The number on his letterhead went straight to a robot voicemail. I called my title insurance, left a panicked message. If there was a real lien, they were on the hook. If not, I was dealing with a con. Then came the kicker. The bylaws were dated 2 years before the subdivision even existed. Christine's HOA was built on paperwork for a neighborhood that hadn't been recorded yet. Piece by piece, the story unraveled, a shakedown dressed up in legal jargon aimed straight at buyers like me. Desperate for answers, I dove into forums and county records. Buried deep, I found a post warning about this very scam. Same HOA, same tricks. 3 families had lost properties over 5 years, always newcomers, always foreclosure or bankruptcy sales, always threatened into paying or selling. Nobody fought back. Next morning, before sunrise, I hit the county recorder's office, eyes bloodshot, hands shaking. The clerk, a tired woman with readers hanging from a chain, walked me through the records. My parcel never in the HOA, not ever. No liens, nothing filed against me, just as I'd suspected. I paid $42 for certified copies, the foundation of my case. At a coffee shop, I checked voicemails. My title company confirmed it. No encumbrances. My title was clean. But that wasn't going to make Christine and her crew go away. Their scam worked because people were afraid Afraid of confrontation, afraid of legal threats, afraid of losing everything. The web went wider than I thought. I tracked down a former victim, Elena Ruiz, who'd bought a lakefront cabin at auction only to face the same playbook. She wired $22,000, then $9,000 more before selling her dream at a loss, just to escape. She still had the letters, the receipts, the pain in her eyes when we met at a diner. Another Howard Finch had paid 19 grand before wising up, but his lawyer convinced him to settle quietly. He'd been collecting evidence, 2 folders of it. Together we started seeing the pattern. But we still needed someone on the inside, someone who'd seen Christine's scam from behind the curtain. That's when the text arrived from a number I didn't recognize. They did the same thing to me. I was on the HOA board before they pushed me out. I have documents. Name was Derek Murphy, former treasurer. We met at a fishing pier, dusk falling over the lake. He handed me a folder thick with emails, plans for targeting auction buyers, escalation timelines, spreadsheets of victims and payments. Nearly $300,000 had flowed into this scam over 6 years. Derek described how it worked: Christine as the front, Raymond as the architect, fake documents, intimidation, social pressure, all built on the assumption nobody would dig. But Derek had kept the evidence, knowing someone would need it. With his folder, Elena and Howard's records, and my own certified documents, I filed a complaint with the Attorney General and sat down with a skeptical sheriff's deputy. That skepticism faded when I laid out the threatening photos, the premeditated emails, the fake legal credentials. Suddenly, we were talking about fraud, extortion, intimidation, real crimes. It all came to a head the next day. I baited Christine with an offer, partial payment, a show of good faith. We arranged to meet at the ranch. Deputy Martin waited out of sight. My audio recorder ran hot in my pocket, every word captured. Christine arrived with her whole crew, including Raymond's silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of face you trust until you don't. They pushed documents at me to sign: acknowledgement of lien, recognition of HOA authority, all garbage, all fake. I pressed them. Show me how my property falls under your CCNRs. Raymond danced around, talking about implied obligation, community standards. I pushed harder. So you know this property isn't in your HOA, but you want payment anyway? His mask slipped. Christine jumped into cover, but it was too late. I had the confession on tape. I pressed the radio transmitter in my pocket. Within 2 minutes, sheriff's lights strobed down the drive. Deputies stepped out firm and unhurried. Christine shouted. Greg glared. Evelyn started crying, and Raymond tried to bluff, but Sheriff Caldwell wasn't having it. Mr. Voss, are you a licensed attorney? No. Read them their rights. As the handcuffs clicked, Raymond looked back, his voice just above a whisper. You think you've won? You have no idea who else is involved. This is bigger than us. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. The aftermath: Christine, Raymond, Greg, Evelyn booked on fraud, extortion, and impersonation charges. The AG launched a full investigation, victims lined up to testify, restitution on the table. Elena and Howard finally got the call they'd waited years for. Derek provided evidence. The network of the exploited began to fight back. But then came the twist: the money trail. Nearly $90,000 of the stolen cash had been routed to a shell company hidden behind layers of paperwork. Someone else invisible had been feeding them info, taking a cut. Maybe a county insider, maybe worse. The root wasn't dead yet. I stood on my porch that night, watching the sun fall behind the trees, knowing I'd won my home, but not sure if the fight was really over. Raymond's words echoed: enemies you can't even see. Maybe he was right. Maybe the head of the snake was still out there watching, waiting. I'd like to say justice always wins, but the truth is sometimes you just get the first round. Still, when I walk through that gate now, when I run my hand along the old farmhouse siding, I know this: they'll never take what's mine again. Not without a hell of a fight. So here's my question for you. Where do you draw the line between standing up for what's yours and walking away for peace? Would you fight knowing the odds, or take the loss and move on? Drop your story, your line in the sand. Maybe, just maybe, the next person who needs help will find the courage in what you share.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.